Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Super Lunch Bros Podcast, episode number 114. I am Brendan. We're going to talk about Bellator 277, Pitbull versus McKee numero dos. I'm going to go over just the main card. We'll go over the 4 fights on the main card. Yeah, I had the prelims on. I wasn't taking notes during them. And if people aren't watching the videos that I make on the UFC prelims, I highly doubt they're watching them on the Bellator prelims. Prove me wrong. Like if in the comments you guys say, hey, like, why aren't you covering the Bellator prelims? I'll start doing them. Really, if that's, what everybody wants, I will definitely start doing it. But that being said, before we get started, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I do at least one of these every single week. I cover the UFC. I cover Bellator now. I go over most of the fights on the card, especially the big fights, the main events, obviously, and I break them down either round by round, or I go over like the keys to victory, how they did that stuff, and going forward, and the future of each fighter, the future of the divisions, those kinds of things. All right. Basically just talking about MMA in general. That's what we do here, And if you like that stuff, like I said, I do it all the time, and I appreciate it. Let's go. All right, AJ McKee taking on Pitbull for the second time here. Well, by the way, so when McKee came out, there's this guy named OT Genesis. I guess he was doing his intro music, and he was getting booed, so that was fun. I don't know. It was just very odd. It's just a weird poll. I mean, I don't know if they're friends or if they're... I have no idea. Maybe I'm missing out, and this might just be old man Brendan here. I just don't know who the guy is, and maybe he's like some super big underground star. I don't know. But he's getting booed, so people there didn't like him either. I don't know. It was... The fight was technical, slow, deliberate, and I would say more boring than people were expecting. Right? This wasn't the most action-packed fight, and if we can see here, if anybody out there knows a good place to look up Bellator striking numbers, so I can pull them up side by side, I would love that, but I can't find them. Through my cursory Google searching, I couldn't find any. So as of right now, I can kind of just do this. But anyway, Pitbull gets the decision win. I will break it down round by round, give you what I thought happened. But the internets and AJ McKee were not happy, to say the least. Apparently, it was really controversial. I get it, especially if you watch the broadcast, because John McCarthy was giving a lot of the rounds to McKee. Not that he didn't necessarily deserve them. I thought the fight was really close. I really did, and without the striking numbers in front of me, I can't have anything to back me up. I can only go off of the eye test and what I saw. And based off what I saw, this fight was a lot more technical than I remember the first one being. There was a lot of patience from both these guys. They were content to throw 1 or 2 shots at a time and then retract it to a safe distance and kind of work their way back in. It was, like I said, a very technical, methodical, kind of boring fight to watch. Boring, more boring than, I think I was expecting. Let's put it that way. I was expecting it more to be like a firefight, and possibly them going out, but really, especially early, and maybe even the second round. I understand the first round, you're kind of getting a feel for everything. You don't want to fall into anything stupid. You don't want to make any dumb mistakes. You want to warm up and get into the fight. And then in the second round, you kind of let everything go, take all that information that you got from the first round and apply that knowledge to try and finish the opponent. So that's kind of what I was expecting, and this is not what we got. We got very technical fighting, very slow pace, not a lot of output from either one of the guys. But Pitbull did take the center of the cage, and he kept the action pressing. I think they both landed a decent amount of shots. I mean, from what I saw, the first round was really close, and honestly, if you had the damage equal, Pitbull takes the first round, 10-9. He really did. That's how I saw it. I gave it to Pitbull, and then in the second round, again, neither guy really landing anything crazy or damaging, so it was just cumulative, right? You were just dealing with the cumulative amount of damage in that round. So there wasn't a single shot that outweighed the rest of the work done by their opponent. Therefore, the second round, nothing crazy happened. I thought Pitbull even had a better round in the second round, and he again was pressing forward. So I gave him that second round as well, 20-18 at this point. Pitbull caught McKee behind the ear, and then with a hook, and McKee kind of wobbled a little bit, but McKee pushed. This is in the third round, so then McKee pushes forward and gets a takedown to recover, and then he starts laying down some damage on top. Pitbull also got during this time, there was a transition where Pitbull got a really tight guillotine attempt and had it for at least 30 seconds. I'd have to go back and watch it. I watched the fight more than once, but that was partly because I had a lot of stuff going on and I wasn't necessarily paying attention as well as I could have been the first time. But anyway, the way I was looking at it, here's my justification. So I could even give Pitbull that third round as well. Put him up 30-27. My justification. He did the damage on the feet where he, stumbled McKee, right? And as we've discussed, I made a separate video on that already. The biggest and most important thing when it comes to scoring criteria is damage, right? Damage and effective offense trying to finish the fight. And cumulative damage is outweighed by instantaneous damage. So if you and I are punching each other, I land 10 shots that do X amount of damage, and you land one punch that does the same amount of damage as all 10 of those punches that I threw at you all at once. It has the same equal damage. Your punch is worth more because damage done in a single instance is worth more than the cumulative damage. So, that's why I had Pitbull. I thought that, McKee did a good job while he was on top and in a good position to lay down some damage, but nothing was fight ending. Nothing was round ending. Nothing really secured the round for him, in my opinion, except maybe because he was in a good position, he was able to lay down damage, but then Pitbull reverses it. I mean, he doesn't reverse the position, but he reversed who had the advantage by throwing up that guillotine, and he had it in really tight, and it could have been stopped. A lesser opponent than McKee might have given up at that point, but McKee didn't, and he kept pushing forward and got his head out, and then stayed in a good position for the last 15 seconds of the round. So, I with that tight guillotine attempt, but the thing is he never got position back. I think if he regained good position after the guillotine attempt and then laid down a little bit of damage, I think that round is easily his, but I think because he stayed on his back and then stayed in a bad position, I could see the judges or anybody else giving that third round to McKee. So I'm not mad if McKee gets that round. I'm also not mad if he gets the first round. I thought the first round was pretty damn close. So just playing the odds here, either the first round or the third round go to McKee, in my opinion. So in the fourth round here, AJ was slowing down near the end of the fourth, and that little break that Pitbull took at the beginning of the fourth round. So the fourth round, Patricio starts out slow, and he wasn't throwing a lot because I think at the end of that third round with that guillotine attempt, he wore out his arms a little bit, and because of that, he was more tentative and not willing to just throw his arms out there and gas himself out with one combo. And during that time, McKee didn't punish him. He didn't throw anything of note. I mean, he was poking and prodding, but not doing anything different than he had in the previous rounds. And then near the end of the round, McKee was slowing down a little bit, and Pitbull picked it back up and was landing some good damage. Now, I don't think he landed anything, again, to separate. Neither one of these guys was landing anything so significant that it clearly gave them the round. But because of that last little flurry at the end, and he was doing damage, and during the round he was still landing decent damage, and maybe McKee was up a point here or a point there, maybe up by a little bit of strikes. But at the end, I think at least Pitbull evened it out, if not went ahead, and if it was even, guess what? He was still moving forward, giving him that round. So just to play it safe, I gave it 39-37 going into the final round with Pitbull on top. So McKee needed a finish, and he didn't get it. So McKee won the last round for sure. Good takedowns, activity, and damage. Everything was in his favor. Clearly his round. So if you want to give the first and the fifth, or the third and the third and the fifth, I could understand people giving the first, the third, and the fifth to McKee and being very upset that he did not get the decision. But they were very close rounds, and they weren't giving the judges a lot of things to look at here. There was not a lot of offense going either way, and when that happens, you often lose out to the guy who's moving forward. And I talked about this last week. I think it's unfortunate when judges overvalue the forward movement over effective striking, but I don't think that's necessarily what happened here. I think they're just like, honestly, even if McKee outlanded Pitbull by a couple shots, it wasn't so significant that by the eye test you could tell that McKee was winning the fight. I mean, if you had the striking numbers on hand and you were watching them and you're like, oh, hey, neither one of these guys was landing serious shots. They all seemed about even, and McKee was up by 3 shots. Therefore, I would give him this round. Sure. Okay, if you had that benefit, but you don't. The judges don't have that, and by the eye test, which is all you can go off of, I didn't give him, 3 of the rounds. The first time I watched it, I didn't give him 3 of the rounds. So for everybody who's saying like it's a robbery, I don't think it's that. This is not the hill to die on. I thought it was a good fight. Even though at the top of this, I said, hey, it was more methodical, slightly boring, because I was expecting like a firefight, right? I was expecting them to really unload, and neither one of these guys went all out or did anything like that. I thought it was a good fight, very technical fight, and they need to run it back again, right? That's what they need to do. They need to have a third fight. And I think, McKee has the tools to win this fight outright. I think if he's just slightly more active, he wins this fight easily. 5 more shots in the first, 5 more shots in the third, and he easily wins this. He's just got to be more active, especially because he's on his back foot. Not even if he's on his back foot. Sorry. Allergies are going nuts today. Good grief. Holy crap. Anyway, I thought it was a good fight. This card overall was pretty fun to watch as well. I just I saw a lot of hate for this one as far as like the results, and I don't get it. This isn't the hill, guys. Not the hill to die on. Anyway, all right, the co-main event. And this is why I think the main event kind of drug things down for me, because this fight was excellent while it lasted. So Corey Anderson was taking on Vadim Nemkov. Nemkov is the current light heavyweight champion. Corey Anderson going for his first belt in any organization. Obviously, the former UFC standout. He was excellent when he fought in the UFC. He's from Illinois, so Illinoisans stand up. We don't have a lot of state pride. Like, we got nothing here. Like, we got Chicago, but people not from Chicago don't like people from Chicago. So, like, there's not a lot of state pride here. It's not like Texas or California or New York or, any of these hardened, state identity. We don't have, like, a state identity either. Anyway, I honestly, going into this fight, I thought Anderson had all the tools to beat Nemkov. And watching the fight, I thought he just applied them effectively, perfectly. Everything he needed to do, he just did. And it's unfortunate that this fight actually ended in a draw due to a headbutt, causing a large gash over the left eye here of Nemkov. It was really nasty, too. I thought it was a good stoppage. It's fine. Frank Trigg was in there. I thought he did it. I am not mad about the stoppage. I think it's unfortunate that it ended like this because Corey Anderson was clearly winning, unlike the UFC. And so there's like a combination of things. Oh, my God, my freaking nose. Combination of things going on here. One, the belt, super important. Obviously, you're the champion. All roads run through you in that division, whatever. But also, this was the end of the light heavyweight tournament, which means the winner also gets $1 million. So what do you do here? Obviously, you're not giving $1 million to either one of the guys. You can't do that. So you can't give $1 million off. You can't exchange the belt. So essentially, this fight meant nothing, except, and if it was a close fight, maybe it would have that air of, oh, okay, let's just run it back. Which, I mean, you have to do anyway. But dude, Nemkov was the more effective striker, landing more damage, and he was even holding his own in that first round, and he had in the grappling. And I thought he did win that first round. So it wasn't a total shutout from Anderson, but the first round was relatively close, but I gave the edge to Nemkov. I felt like he was a little bit better in the damage department. And then in the second round, Corey was able to get the takedown at 350, and he was able to lay down some good ground and pound, way more damage. Nothing came back in his direction. I mean, if you're more loosey-goosey, you can even give him a 10-8, but for sure that was a 10-9 in my opinion. So they were even going into the third. And it was I was interested to see how Nemkov's cardio looked after that second round. I thought he still looked light on his feet. He was moving around really well. I thought he was doing a good job in that third round. But Corey landed a good right hand and got Nemkov to back up and then transition to a takedown beautifully, I might add. Another huge round for Corey and a momentary submission attempt for Nemkov, but nothing. Otherwise, there was nothing coming back towards Anderson in this third round. And then during ground and pound, right, he's on top. There's 3 seconds left in the fight. 3 seconds left in the round. He goes to throw, I believe, a left elbow. Right, so he extends up and goes to throw an elbow, and Nemkov moves his head this way, right? So Anderson is trying to throw at a head that's right here, so he moves this way, and then Nemkov also moves his head over here. And then when he comes down, Anderson smacks Nemkov with his head right in the eyebrow. So huge cut. Really unfortunate that this ended like this. I mean, both guys were really respectful. I don't see any bad blood. In my opinion, in those last 2 rounds, Nemkov was getting smoked, and you could see the writing on the wall for him, barring a really good shot. He wasn't out of the fight completely. I think, he might have been able to turn it around, but, Anderson has incredibly good cardio. His striking is fine, and his grappling is excellent. And, if Nemkov couldn't keep himself off the mat in the second and the third round, what do you think is going to happen in the fourth and the fifth, especially with the damage that's coming back his way? So I'm really upset that this ended this way. Not upset, sorry. I'm disappointed that it ended this way. And then, this is why I think I didn't like the main event, because I was already in a crappy mood, because Anderson's been working really hard to get to this position, and he did such a good job. He did everything he was supposed to, and through no fault of his own, essentially. I mean, he's throwing a strike the way he should, and then Nemkov moves into the path of his head, because it was accidental. It just sucks. This just sucks. So, like I said, the reason was maybe one of the reasons I didn't like the main event, because we're getting 2 rematches off this. No interesting match. We're not having anybody else fight for the belts. We're not having let's just do rematches. So going forward, we're gonna see these 2 fights run back. All right. So opening up the card. Well, not quite opening up the card, but this was an interesting fight. Aaron Pico versus Adley Edwards. Pico looked excellent. It was Pico started the fight getting a takedown, which was nice to see that he's actually starting to use his grappling. I understand that he has been more lately, but it's nice to see him do that because he has such an advantage. In the second round, actually in the first round, it looked like he cracked the guy. And when he did and he rocked him, instead of just going in a 50-50 position and starting to swing away, he went for a takedown to take an advantageous position and dropping bombs from the top. Easy one-way traffic in the first round, 10-8, 10-9, whatever you pick. Second round is the same thing, landing body kicks, body punches, getting takedowns, taking little to no damage, easy 10-8 or 10-9. And then in the third round, it finally got stopped. The really good stoppage, Pico landed another good body shot. Edwards stayed in there. He's tough as shit. He stayed in there, tried to throw back, and he just started taking too much damage, and there was a good stoppage by the ref. I don't have a problem with it. Pico looks excellent. I'm hoping that he can keep this going and he stays on this, winning path and his winning ways, because I'd like to see him challenge for a title. I think he does have all the skills except his chin, right? He just does not have a world-class chin. You don't need to, but it helps. And then, quickly touch on the opening fight of the card. Tim Johnson, porno stash over here, versus Linton Vassell. Stepping up. He used to fight at light heavyweight. Now he fights at heavyweight. Johnson, it was just a sloppy heavyweight fight, in my opinion. Johnson almost got the knockout, lands on Vassell, rushes in, and then the position gets reversed, and then Vassell worked his way to the back mount and got himself a TKO. So, like I said, sloppy heavyweight fight. If you do not have Showtime and you didn't watch this stuff, I'm going to be honest. This isn't the one to sign up for. This ain't the one. The last big event, I think, the Mads Burnell one, I thought was excellent. I thought it was one of the best fights I've ever seen, especially this year. It just... This one's not the one to do. So if you're waiting to see how the fights went, to see if you're going to go back and watch it, and then sign up for Showtime, wait a couple weeks to the Cyborg event, and maybe a week, and wait till the Cyborg event if that's something you want to catch live. So that is it. Please, like I said at the top, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe, like the video, let me know that you guys watch this stuff. Because it means a lot to me. It really does. It lets me know that you guys are interested in these things. This is something that I would like to do more of. I would like to spend more time editing videos, doing reviews, going over fights, even going back and watching old fights and giving my opinion on those, maybe even doing live watches with people. I would say the sky's the limit, but really what I mean is, I would love to do more. I would love to invest more in this. And the more I get from you guys, the more views, the more likes, subscribes, those kinds of things, the more I can dump into this channel, and the more time I can spend on it, and the better product you guys are all going to get. So all it takes is you clicking the subscribe button and clicking the stupid thumbs up, and I would really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. So I will be back tomorrow. Nate will be on as well. We'll go over the next UFC card. And until then, I hope you guys have a good weekend. And if you are just watching this on Monday to get your weekend MMA recap, and you're not going to go watch the UFC one, or I recommend you do, just go watch it. But just in case you don't want to, that's fine. I hope you guys have an amazing week. Love y'all.